Eli Ward woke up gasping for air. The room around him was white, too white. The walls were smooth and glowing like ice. His breath came out in clouds and a sharp chill bit at his skin. Then he realized something that made his blood freeze. He was completely naked. His first thought was, where am I? The second was, why can't I remember anything? A dull hum vibrated under the floor. Strange symbols blinked on a floating glass panel beside him. He stood slowly, shivering, looking for clothes, a door, anything human. Nothing, just light and cold metal. He shouted, "Hello? Anyone there?" His voice echoed soft and lonely. Then from the ceiling a low hiss sounded, air releasing, and a smooth metallic door slid open with a sigh. Eli's heart stopped. Two tall figures stepped in. They were not human. The first had long silver hair that shimmered like liquid light. The second's skin glowed faintly blue with eyes that looked like polished stars. They were twins, same height, same calm faces, but one's expression was curious, the other cautious. Their outfits clung to them like living armor that moved with their skin. The moment they saw Eli, both froze. The silver-haired one tilted her head and spoke in a soft, musical voice. "He is awake?" The blue one replied, "That should not be possible." Eli backed up, hands covering himself, his face burning. "Well, who are you?" "Where am I?" They exchanged a glance. Then, ignoring his question, they moved closer. One held a small, glowing device that hummed and scanned the air around him. It made a faint chime every time it passed near his chest. Eli stepped back. "Don't touch me." The silver one frowned slightly, tapping the device. No decay. No cellular damage. "Heart rate? Strong." Her voice trembled. "He's alive." The blue one looked alarmed. "That is not possible for a human." Human. They said it like a myth. Eli stared at them, his mind spinning. "Wait, you're saying you're not human?" They didn't answer. The silver twin looked at the wall and spoke in her language. Strange lights rippled across the surface and a soft hum filled the room. Eli realized the walls were listening. Then something strange happened. The wall projected an image. The earth, burning in blue fire, surrounded by dark ships. Eli stepped closer, shocked. "That's Earth. That's my home." The twins looked at him as if he had said something dangerous. The blue one's eyes hardened. "Your world was destroyed. Centuries ago." Eli's stomach twisted. "No, that's not possible." "I was just there." The silver twin looked at him with pity. "Time does not move the same way in the rift." Before Eli could ask what she meant, the light in the room dimmed, and an alarm began to pulse. Red symbols flashed across the walls. The twins froze. "Containment breach," the blue one whispered. "They found out we brought him aboard." Eli's heart pounded. "Who found out?" They didn't answer. The silver twin grabbed his arm. Her touch warmed despite the cold. "You must not speak. You must do exactly what we say." Eli stared at her glowing eyes, trembling. "You still haven't told me your names." For a moment, silence. Then she whispered, "I am Lyra. This is my sister, Novi." Another alarm blared. Lyra looked at her twin. "We don't have time. The commander will kill him if he knows." Eli's mind reeled. "Kill me?" Lyra's grip tightened. "You were not supposed to exist, human." The door slid open again and blue light poured in. Shadows of armored figures appeared in the corridor. Lyra whispered, "Stay quiet. Stay behind us," and for the first time Eli realized whatever he was, whatever had happened to Earth, these two alien twins were the only thing standing between him and death. Lyra's heart raced as she dragged the trembling human through the narrow silver corridor. The lights along the ceiling flickered like living veins, pulsing with each step they took. Behind them, distant footsteps echoed, heavy, mechanical, and closing in. "Move," Lyra whispered, pulling Eli by the wrist. Eli stumbled, barefoot and still half frozen. His breath came in short gasps. "What's happening?" "Who's chasing us?" Her twin, Novi, turned sharply, scanning the corridor with a wrist-mounted sensor. "The commander knows," she said quietly. "He detected a human life sign. He'll erase us for this." Eli stopped. "Erase you? For helping me?" Lyra spun to face him, eyes glowing faint silver. "You don't understand. Humans are forbidden. You are supposed to be extinct." The words hit him like a punch. He blinked, confused, shaking his head. "That's insane. I was alive on Earth. Earth burned," Novi interrupted coldly. 200 cycles ago. No humans survived. Eli froze in shock. 200 cycles. That was centuries. The air felt heavy, pressing down on him. Then how am I here? Neither sister answered. They led him into a small chamber lined with glass tubes filled with green mist. Lyra pressed her hand to a glowing pad, and one of the pods opened with a hiss. Get inside, she ordered. Eli hesitated. Why, you expect me to just climb into that thing? Lyra looked over her shoulder, eyes flicking nervously toward the corridor. If they scan this section, the pod will hide your life signs. If you stay out here, they will kill you before I can speak. Something in her voice made him trust her just enough. He stepped inside, the pod sealed with a soft click, wrapping him in warm mist that smelled faintly like metal and rain. Through the glass, Eli watched the twins whisper in their alien tongue. The mist distorted their shapes, two elegant silhouettes moving in perfect sync. Novi's expression was cold as ever, but Lyra's face looked torn between fear and compassion. Moments later, the door burst open. A squad of armored aliens stormed in, weapons humming with electric light. Their commander, a tall figure in black armor with red eyes, stepped forward. Lyra. Novi. His voice was deep and sharp. You retrieved an unauthorized object from the surface. Explain. Lyra lowered her gaze. There was movement in the ruins. I thought it was salvage. Lies, the commander hissed. A human signal appeared on the scanners. Where is it? Novi moved smoothly between him and the pod, her tone cold. You think we'd risk the mission for a myth? The scanners malfunctioned. There was no human. For a long moment, silence. The commander's red eyes glowed brighter, studying them. Then he turned sharply. If you are lying, I will tear the truth from your minds. He left, taking the soldiers with him. The doors hissed shut. Lyra's body shook with relief. She pressed a hand over her heart and whispered, he believed it, for now. The pod opened with a quiet sigh. Eli stumbled out, coughing, his hair damp with mist. Who was that? Our commander, Novi said, staring at the closed door. Zareth. He kills without asking twice. Lyra turned to Eli, her tone gentler. You cannot stay here long. We must take you to the lower decks where the scanners can't reach. Eli rubbed his arms, still shivering. Why are you helping me? If humans are so hated, why risk your lives? Lyra met his eyes, her voice soft but firm. Because once, humans created us, Eli froze. What did you say? But before she could answer, the ship trembled violently, alarms blaring once again. This time it wasn't the commander. Something deep inside the ship had just awakened. The floor vibrated under Eli's bare feet. The walls glowed red as a deep rumble shook the corridor. Somewhere in the distance, metal screamed. What's happening? Eli shouted over the noise. Lyra steadied herself against the wall. Something in the ship's core just came online. Novi's eyes darted across her wrist screen. That's impossible. The core was sealed centuries ago. Eli frowned, heart pounding. You mean it wasn't supposed to move? Lyra turned toward him, her silver hair glowing faintly in the crimson light. This ship, Vire Ascendant, isn't like the others. It's old, older than our species. Her words sent a chill through him. Older than your species? What does that even mean? Before she could answer, the lights along the corridor began to shift from red to white, one by one, following Eli as he stepped forward. Wherever he moved, the lights brightened like the ship itself was watching him. Lyra and Novi exchanged a stunned look. It's reacting to him, Novi whispered. Eli stopped moving, fear crawling up his spine. Reacting? What do you mean reacting? Novi raised her scanner and aimed it at the wall. Symbols scrolled across the display, fast and wild. The system is responding to his biosignature. It's identifying him as primary user. Lyra's eyes widened. That's not possible. Humans never... She paused, voice trembling. Unless... Eli stepped back, panic rising. Unless what? She met his eyes. Unless this ship was built by your kind. A cold silence followed. The hum of the engines deepened into a slow, rhythmic pulse like a heartbeat. Then a voice echoed through the hallway. System reboot complete. Human command detected. Welcome, Captain Eli Ward. Eli froze. What did it just say? The twins looked as if they had seen a ghost. Lyra whispered, It recognized your name. The walls around them shifted, literally moved, stretching and twisting until a holographic panel appeared in midair. It showed a glowing map of the ship, massive beyond imagination. One section flashed in red, core reactivation sequence. Novi's hands trembled as she studied the data. The ship thinks he's its captain. That means it's reinitializing the human control protocols. If the commander sees this, he'll destroy the entire deck to stop it. Eli stared at the map, overwhelmed. You're saying this ship belongs to humans? Lyra nodded slowly. Long ago, before our people even existed, this vessel fought in the Great War. The humans built ships that could think, ships that could choose their masters. After the war ended, the survivors hid them in deep space. We found one and thought we claimed it. But you didn't, Eli whispered. You stole it. Novi's voice was sharp. Careful, human. We are trying to keep you alive. The floor shook again, harder this time. Sparks rained from the ceiling. A mechanical alarm screamed through the corridor. Lyra grabbed Eli's hand. They've detected the reactivation. We need to move now. They sprinted through twisting corridors as walls lit up in white, tracking Eli's path. Every system was waking up. Doors sliding open automatically, machines unfolding from the floor, lights flaring in strange recognition. Why is it doing that? Eli gasped. Because, Lyra said breathlessly, the ship remembers you, or at least it remembers your kind. They reached a large circular chamber, the control core. In the center floated a massive black sphere humming with blue light. Strange human letters shimmered on its surface. The twins stopped short, speechless. Eli stepped closer. The air around the core felt alive, full of energy. He reached out instinctively, and the sphere pulsed in response. A gentle, human-like voice echoed all around them. Captain identified. Awaiting further commands, Lyra whispered, her voice barely audible. It's impossible. No one has heard that voice in 200 cycles. Eli turned slowly toward her. Maybe it's time someone did. The black sphere in the center of the control room glowed brighter, filling the chamber with waves of blue light. The walls trembled softly as if the ship itself had just taken a deep breath after a long sleep. Eli stood frozen. The voice still echoed inside his head. Captain identified. Awaiting further commands. He swallowed hard. I didn't tell it anything. How does it know my name? Lyra's eyes shone in disbelief. It's not supposed to know you at all. No human has been alive long enough to... The voice interrupted, calm but firm. Command access restored. Genetic pattern confirmed. Human lineage, Terran origin. Authorization, level alpha. Eli felt a rush of energy move through his body like static running under his skin. The sphere pulsed again. Every screen in the room flickered to life, showing human letters and symbols the twins couldn't read, but Eli could. Status report, he whispered, not expecting a reply. The ship answered instantly. Status dormant systems awakening. Warning, unauthorized life forms detected. The lights in the corridor turned red again. Novi flinched. It's calling us unauthorized? Lyra's voice was small. Because we're not human. Before Eli could react, the ship sealed the doors. Metal walls shifted into place like armor plates. The floor vibrated beneath them. A holographic map appeared in front of him, showing the outline of the ship and flashing dots, dozens of soldiers moving toward the control core. Zareth, Lyra whispered. He's coming. Eli looked around helplessly. Can't we just lock the doors? The commander doesn't need doors, Novi said bitterly. He'll cut through the hull if he must. Eli turned to the glowing core. Ship, can you defend us? Defense systems offline. Manual override required. He looked at Lyra. What does that mean? It means, she said quickly, the ship will protect you, but you have to tell it how. Eli stared at the pulsing sphere. His voice trembled, but he spoke clearly. Activate defense mode. The floor lit up beneath their feet. Energy surged through the walls. Strange alien lights shut down, replaced by older, colder human systems. The hum deepened. Defense mode activated. Shielding interior decks. Lyra gasped as a translucent field of blue light rippled over the walls. It's listening to you, she whispered. The ship is obeying you, Novi frowned. Then it has truly chosen him. The virus ascendant belongs to the human. Eli could hardly breathe. I don't want control, I just want to survive. Primary directive, ensure survival of Captain Eli Ward, the ship replied. The voice was calm, almost gentle. But outside, the sound of weapons hitting the shield thundered through the air. Lyra looked toward the door. Zareth will not stop. He will destroy the entire section to kill you. Eli's chest tightened. Why? I didn't do anything. Novi's tone was cold. You exist. That's enough. The floor shook violently. The shield shimmered under the pressure of enemy fire. Lyra ran to a control panel and shouted, "We can't hold them off much longer." Eli placed his hand on the sphere again. "Ship, move us away from danger." "Now." "Affirmative." The whole deck lurched. Alarms wailed. The Vire Ascendant shifted course with a roar, breaking free from the docking clamps. Outside the viewing window, stars twisted as the ship dove into the black void. The twins clung to the railings, eyes wide. Lyra laughed breathlessly. "You just hijacked a warship." Eli stared out into the endless dark, the stars streaking by. "I didn't hijack it," he said softly. "It chose me." For a moment there was silence, just the hum of the engines and the slow heartbeat of the ancient ship. Then the voice spoke once more, quieter now, almost human. "Captain, destination detected. Returning to origin point, Earth." Lyra turned slowly toward him, her eyes wide in shock. "Eli, Earth doesn't exist anymore." Eli's heart pounded. "Then we're about to find out what's left." The ship floated in silent darkness, engines humming low like a sleeping beast. The stars outside streaked by in silver trails. Inside the control chamber, Eli stood before the glowing sphere, his reflection flickering in the blue light. Lyra and Novi watched him from the edge of the room. Neither spoke. The silence between them was heavy with questions none of them could answer. Then, without warning, the lights flickered red again. The ship's voice whispered coldly. "Unauthorized transmission detected." "Source Commander Zareth." Novi's eyes narrowed. "He's found a way to connect to us." A sharp tone pierced the air. A tall holographic figure appeared. Commander Zareth, clad in dark armor that looked like molten metal. His crimson eyes burned through the static. "So," his deep voice echoed, "the ghost of humanity still breathes." His gaze fixed on Eli. "You are the mistake my ancestors warned me about." Eli clenched his fists. "You're the one trying to kill me." "What did I ever do to you?" Zareth chuckled, the sound low and cruel. "You were born human." "That is crime enough." Lyra stepped forward. "Commander, please, he didn't choose this." The ship recognized him. "It's not his fault." Zareth's eyes flashed. "You dare speak for it?" "For him?" He turned toward her sharply. "You've broken every law written in our code. You disobeyed orders, hit a living human, and now you protect the same creature that destroyed our world." Eli stepped in front of her, his voice firm. "Maybe your world wasn't destroyed by humans. Maybe it was destroyed by what you became after them." The room fell silent. Even Novi looked at him with surprise. Zareth leaned forward, his voice a hiss. "You have spirit, human. I'll give you that. But spirit won't save you when I tear you apart from your stolen ship." Then his tone softened, almost mocking. "Unless and we make a deal." Lyra's brow furrowed. "A deal?" Zareth smirked. "I want the ship back. You can keep the human alive, briefly. Long enough to extract what I need from his blood. Hand him over and you will live." Novi's lips tightened. "You want to dissect him?" "Call it what you will," Zareth replied coldly. "His DNA is the key. With it we can erase the last trace of human control. You and your sister can return to your posts." Lyra's voice broke. "You'd kill him?" Zareth's hologram leaned closer, eyes glowing like burning coals. "He's already dead. You just don't realize it yet." The transmission cut off abruptly. The room fell silent again. Only the ship's faint hum remained. Eli looked at Lyra and Novi. "You could give me up. Save yourselves." Lyra met his gaze, her expression soft but steady. "No, you're under my protection now." Novi hesitated. "Lyra," her sister turned sharply. "No, Novi. We can't undo what was done to us, but we can decide what happens now." Eli's chest tightened. He didn't know what to say. These alien twins, born from something humans created, were now risking their lives for him. The ship's voice broke the silence. "Enemy boarding parties detected. Time to impact, 3 minutes." Lyra drew a deep breath and looked at Eli. "Then it's decided. We run." She grabbed his arm, pulling him toward the maintenance corridor. Alarms flared overhead, the walls flashing red. The distant rumble of engines shook the floor as explosions rocked the outer hull. Novi ran beside them, shouting over the noise. "Zareth's soldiers are cutting through the lower decks." Eli stumbled, catching himself on the wall. "What do we do now?" Lyra's eyes blazed. "We fight for the ship, for the truth." The corridor lights suddenly went out. In the darkness, the ship's voice whispered again, calm, determined, almost human. "Captain Eli Ward."
Manual control override available.
Do you wish to engage? Eli's breath came fast. Yes, do it. Blue light flared across the corridor, outlining his face in a halo of energy. The twins turned to him, eyes wide. Lyra whispered, half in awe, half in fear. He's merging with the ship, and deep inside the core something ancient woke. Something that remembered the wars, the pain, and the vow to protect humanity at any cost. The corridor glowed with shifting blue light as energy coursed through the walls. Eli's heartbeat matched the rhythm of the ship's pulse. His vision blurred for a second, and suddenly, he saw everything. It wasn't just the metal hall around him. He saw the ship's memories. He saw the day it was born, built by human hands in a floating shipyard above a golden earth. He saw soldiers in white armor walking its halls, laughing, proud, alive. He heard the name whispered in 1,000 voices, Vyre Ascendant, guardian of humanity. Then came the fire. Planets burning, screams echoing through the dark. The humans fell one by one, and when the smoke cleared, something new walked out of the ruins. The aliens. Eli gasped, jerking back to reality. His hands shook. I saw it, he whispered. The war, the truth. Lyra and Novi looked at him stunned. What did you see? Eli turned to them, his voice trembling. You, your people, you were made by us, Novi stiffened. Lies. It's not. Eli shouted. Humans created you from our own DNA. You were supposed to help us explore, to survive deep space. But then something went wrong. Lyra's lips parted in shock. We were made by humans? Eli nodded. You rebelled when your creators tried to shut the program down. You didn't want to be tools. You wanted freedom, and that turned into war. The silence that followed felt like a knife between them. Novi's expression was cold, but her voice cracked slightly. So our entire species came from yours? Eli met her eyes. Yes, you're not our enemies, Novi, you're our children. The words hung in the air. The ship itself seemed to hum in agreement, its lights softening to a warm glow. Lyra stepped closer, her face pale. All my life I was told humans were monsters, that we were born to destroy what they left behind. She looked down at her trembling hands. But if we were made by them, then what are we now? Eli smiled sadly. Maybe the last pieces of both worlds. Suddenly the ship's voice cut through the silence. Warning, hostile units breaching Deck 12. Commander Zareth approaching. Novi's jaw tightened. He will not let this truth exist. Lyra turned to Eli. We need proof. The archive chamber. It's below the control core. If we can reach it, we can show the galaxy what really happened. Eli nodded. Then let's move. They ran through dim corridors as the ship shuddered from explosions outside. Sparks rained down, alarms screamed, and steel walls groaned under the stress of impact. Finally, they burst into a huge circular room filled with floating crystal data cores. The lights flickered, casting ghostly reflections across their faces. Lyra approached the central console and touched it gently. Vyre Ascendant, open human archive access. Command recognized, the ship replied. The crystals lit up, thousands of memories replaying at once. Human engineers working beside alien prototypes, laughing together, building something new. Novi stepped closer, tears forming in her eyes. We weren't born from hate. We were born from hope. But the moment didn't last. The doors exploded inward and Commander Zareth stepped through, flanked by soldiers in black armor. His eyes burned with fury. You should have destroyed him when you had the chance, he growled. Lyra stepped in front of Eli, weapon raised. It's over, Zareth. You were wrong. Humans didn't create war, they created us, Zareth sneered. Then they created their own doom. He raised his weapon, but before he could fire, the ship's voice thundered. Human captain in danger. Activating ancient defense, the floor split open. Blinding blue energy burst upward, knocking everyone off their feet. Eli felt the ship calling him again, its pulse syncing with his own heartbeat. Lyra reached for him, shouting, Eli, what are you doing? He looked at her with calm eyes. Finishing what we started. The ship's light grew brighter, surrounding them in white fire. And as the soldiers screamed and the walls trembled, Eli stepped forward, ready to face the truth, and ready to change everything that came after. The light swallowed everything. For a long moment, Eli couldn't tell if he was alive or dreaming. His body floated in weightless white energy, and the hum of the ship echoed through his bones like a heartbeat that wasn't his own. Then the light dimmed. The world came back. He was standing in the core chamber, but it looked different now. The black sphere had split open, revealing a massive column of glowing blue crystal that reached from floor to ceiling. Symbols ran across its surface. Human words, old and half-faded. Guardian protocol: preserve life, protect humanity. Lyra and Novi stood behind him, shields flickering, breathing hard. The soldiers who had entered before now lay scattered, unconscious, weapons burnt out by the blast. Commander Zareth was the only one still moving, struggling to his feet. His armor smoked, his face twisted in rage. Eli turned toward him, voice steady. "It's over, Zareth." Zareth spat on the floor. "You think turning on some ancient machine makes you a god? You're just a shadow of a dead race." Eli shook his head. "Maybe, but your people came from us, and we both deserve to live." Zareth's eyes burned. "No, we were born in war. We are war." He charged forward, his blade glowing red. Eli didn't move. The ship reacted for him. Blue light wrapped around Zareth mid-strike, freezing him in place. The commander roared, trapped in the glowing field. "Captain Authority confirmed," the ship's voice said. "Awaiting judgment." Eli stared at the man who had hunted him since the moment he awoke. "I don't want to destroy anyone," he said quietly. "Just end the cycle." Lyra stepped closer, her voice soft but trembling. "Eli, if you let him live, he'll never stop." He looked at her, then at Novi, who said nothing, her cold eyes filled with conflict. He understood what they were both thinking. Eli turned to the ship. "Release him." Lyra's eyes widened. "What?" "Release him," Eli repeated. "No more killing. The war ends here." The ship obeyed. The light faded. Zareth fell to his knees, gasping. He looked up at Eli with hate and confusion. "You spare me?" Eli nodded. "Because I remember what it's like to lose everything." "You don't need to." The commander's blade flickered out. For the first time his voice softened. "You're a fool, human." "Maybe," Eli said, "but I'm still alive." Zareth looked away, then stood, wounded pride in his eyes. Without another word, he signaled his soldiers to retreat. The doors sealed behind them and silence filled the core. Lyra stared at Eli in disbelief. "You risked everything." He smiled faintly. "So did you." The ship's voice returned, now warmer, almost human. "Captain Eli Ward, Guardian Protocol complete. Humanity's legacy ready for restoration." A holographic map unfolded around them. Hundreds of dormant ships scattered across the galaxy. Each one flickered with blue light, coming online one by one. Novi whispered, her voice trembling. "Those are human vessels," Eli nodded. "They've been waiting all this time." Lyra stepped beside him, her silver hair glowing in the light. "Then what happens now?" Eli looked at the map, the endless stars beyond. "Now we rebuild. Together." The ship's engines roared to life, brighter than before. The hull shimmered as the Vire Ascendant aligned itself with a new course. Outside, across the darkness, hundreds of ships began to rise from hidden worlds, waking from their long sleep, answering the same call. Human signal detected. Command link restored. Lyra reached for Eli's hand, her voice barely a whisper. "The galaxy will never be the same." He squeezed her hand gently. "Good. It's time for it to change." As the Vire Ascendant soared through the stars, the ship's voice spoke one last time, calm, proud, and full of life. "Captain Eli Ward. Destination confirmed. Earth. Reclamation." The stars ahead shimmered like new beginnings. And in that silent light, the last human and the two alien twins, his creations, his allies, his family, sailed into the unknown, ready to wake the future that humanity had left behind. The end.